Hello everybody. Thanks for joining us. It's Tarot with Whimsy. So first I want to answer a couple questions, and I took some notes. The first question that people have been asking is this all fake? Is this all fake? Is this political farce? Is it performance art? Am I really trying to do remotes? You know, what is going on with this channel? Well, I would say the answer is all of the above. This is definitely political satire. It's performance art. But it's also true that within the whimsy, within the enchantment, within the magic, there's truth as well, in the sense that I really do meditate at night. I write down my observations. I do attempt to tune in or pick up things, and I really do the tarot. So that is why I do always tell people to take it with a grain of salt. And this is the Oracle of Whimsy, right? The Oracle of Whimsy brings enchantment to our lives and reminds us that the best part of being alive is to be enchanted and to believe in magic, and that anything is possible. The fantasy, the whimsy of life, the ability to be enchanted. And far too often as adults we feel like we have to make a choice. We either have to be only analytical, only scientific, and then we have to give up the whimsy. We have to give up the enchantment, and it can cause a profound depression and a profound unhappiness in our lives when we do that. And so I think this channel is also about helping people feel that it's okay to have a little bit of whimsy in your life. Whimsy is what gives us joy and a sense of magic and wonderment about the world. Children have this naturally until we beat it out of them, right? So we are trying to bring that back. So yes, that is the message of the Oracle of Whimsy. Yes, the Oracle of Whimsy, an ancient oracle that was first conceived in an ancient riverbed in a faraway distant land. And I hope the rivers will return someday. That is the Oracle of Whimsy. The Oracle of Whimsy comes to teach us mischief and play and to have fun. That is the Oracle of Whimsy. All right, so we have a couple things to talk about. Last night when I did my meditation, my remote viewing, I was pulled to North Korea, and I haven't talked about North Korea up until this point, and I was kind of wary to talk about North Korea just because I don't want anyone to be mad at me. But last night when I tuned into the energy, the collective consciousness of the people of North Korea, the message is that they are very frightened and they are very desperate because what has happened is that the sanctions and the closed policies of the administration in North Korea are preventing basic necessities from getting to the people of North Korea. They were getting some aid from China, and I believe they were also getting aid from the former Soviet Union, and to some extent the new Russia, the Federation. But supplies and resources, basically aid, have been diminished or entirely wiped out, and the people are getting more and more desperate because the truth of the matter is, as it was explained to me when I spoke to the energy, they said that we cannot produce enough food to feed our people. That is the message. So to be clear, that the message I received last night is that the people of North Korea cannot feed themselves. They're not able to. We simply don't have the resources to feed this population, and so they are desperate to get some kind of aid. And the situation is getting worse and worse and worse, and the people are frightened. They're frightened for their future. They're frightened that some vulnerable populations in the community may experience starvation, hunger, health crisis. It's a health crisis, and it's a hunger crisis that has taken over in North Korea. And so we have to pray for them, send positive, healing to the people of North Korea that are being subjected to this this closed border policy, and what few resources that they have are being used in this war with the United States. And again, it goes back to this idea that if you're going to take on a big country with lots of wealth and money, or the power that is NATO, you're not going to win, because eventually you're going to go bankrupt. And that's in fact what has happened in North Korea. So the people are frightened, they're desperate, there simply are not enough resources available to them. People are buying things on the black market from South Korea, and to some extent China, and it's inflated, and they are very afraid. They are very afraid for their future, and they feel that their situation is dire. And it almost feels like, when I tune into the energy, that some of the people there feel like they are kidnapped victims, that they are being held hostage by a tyrant, and that food and supplies are running out. That is the message from inside North Korea. So why did I receive the message last night? To tell you that, I don't know, other than to say that the international community has to do more than just criticizing the leader of North Korea at this point. So that is the message. I tuned in briefly to the accountant of, somebody had asked me to check out the accountant. I can't remember his name. I can go ahead and Google Alan Weissman, something like that. The accountant for Trump who had immunity. And I asked him, I didn't speak to his energy for very long, but I asked him briefly if he could explain if they cooked the books or anything like that. And his response was that for the most part I didn't have to, because the organization was broke. So that is what I heard him say. In plainer words, many of the casinos, many of the businesses that were part of the Trump organization were barely financially succeeding. They were going under, and so there's no need to cook the books if you really are bankrupt, if there really isn't any money. So to some extent, whether or not he cooks the books or not, what I was allowed to, and again, I asked permission, so if there's something there he doesn't want me to know, I'm not going to find out about it. But what he did allow me to see or hear is that many of the projects that were under the umbrella of the Trump organization were completely bankrupted. They weren't making any money, and so there's no need to cook the books if you really are not making a profit. So that is all I was allowed to see regarding that. And then people had asked if Trump was going to call a state of emergency. In terms of a remote viewing, in terms of looking at that from a remote viewer's perspective, I don't know. I feel like a lot of it's a bluster, because I feel like he's being pushed out in terms of who's in charge, and I also think he's being threatened and told to resign early. They've got stuff over him, and so if he were to pull something like that, I think that the Republicans and they would pull him out of there very quickly. They, whether it's Amendment 25, the article, and just taking him out of there, there seems to be some energy that I'm picking up that they've had enough, and but it's entirely possible. So let's go ahead and let's take a look and see, as far as the cards are concerned, whether or not there's going to be a government, if there's going to be a state of emergency. And the other thing I want to check on for people, they had asked, was the planet global warming, and what will be with that. So we're going to go ahead and just shuffle really quickly. Hot tea's been helping for the cough. Thanks, everyone. And let's just see if there's going to be a state of emergency. Let's have a look. Gotta move my little whimsy, my little whimsy rabbit there. Coming into a place of power, fleeing. A place of power, fleeing like a thief. Where we are at right now, offers that were rejected could be accepted. Offers that were rejected could be accepted. So this could be that whatever the Senate is working on, the president will sign the bill. This could be the end of a stalemate. What crosses? A feeling of loss of hopelessness. A loss of hope, excuse me, a feeling of hopelessness. Foolishness. Foolishness. Hope everyone can see this. Foolishness. Above, foolishness. Below, moving on. Moving on. Defensiveness on both sides. 7 of Wands. To be defensive. End of a contract. A contract is ending. What is happening now? Tempers. Impatience. A man, possibly the president, stubborn, strong. Hopes and fears, finances, funding, the final outcome. Fighting and chaos. There could be more tempers coming, more temper flares, more anger, more instability. It's possible that there could be a government shut. There could be a state of emergency. Coming out of feelings of restriction is the verification. The Tower, hopes and fears. The final outcome, 6 of Cups, a peace treaty. Bringing flowers or offerings of peace. Romance. I'm a little worried with the temper tantrums, the violence, the extreme energy shift, the extreme emotionalism of these cards. I do like the clarification when I put down an additional 4 cards showing some kind of peace offering, but I have to say I don't like the chaos around that. The chaos that comes prior to the yelling, the screaming, the anger, the frustration, the impatience that happens prior to getting to an agreement. Does that mean a shutdown? It's possible because it looks like we could get very close, but it also looks like eventually it will work out. Okay, I wanted to do one on global warming because people are very worried about, will human beings save themselves or is it too late? What can we do, if anything, to reverse the global warming? And are humans going to be able to save themselves? So we're just looking at the basics on climate change. Interesting. Coming into our power, again, same thing as before, getting out of restriction. Coming into our power and getting out of our restriction or feeling of being cornered. Where we are right now, the Tower. We're in a state of destruction. Kali energy right over us. Things are passing, things are being destroyed. What crosses? Self-examination, frugality, holding on to the coin, selfishness. But this can also be a card of self-reflection, looking in the mirror, examining one's life. What is above us? Broken promises, a loss of romance, a loss of hope. What sits below us? Stubbornness, a refusal to bend. What is behind us? Loss of negotiations, loss of mediation, refusal to sit down at the table. What comes in our near future? Possible drought, a dry period coming. Loss of crops, infertility. Where we are at right now, healers are coming. Healers, the person who brings the cup brings water. What is around us? Romance, enchantment, whimsy, the ability to dream again, falling in love, soulmates. Our hopes and our fears, the loss and destruction of everything. Our final outcome. Together, we can heal the world. When we get right with ourselves, we heal the world. Through hard work, we heal the world. Our clarification, many ideas come. Frustration about choices, what is around us. Our challenge is greed and directing our greed towards prosperity for the planet. Hopes and fears. Mediation, movement. Hopes and fears, inability to move. Final outcome. Without the Hierophant, Sun, depression. The final outcome is really that it's up to us, that we have the power within us to save ourselves. Our base is the Magician. We have all the tools we need to save ourselves. We simply have to do the work. It's up to us. There is no definitive outcome other than free choice, but it looks like with the Hierophant coming in as the outcome, there's hope. There's tremendous hope. So I would say, looking at the cards regarding saving the planet, what I like is this new energy coming in of mediation, breaking stalemates, directing people's greed or desire for profits towards what could possibly be environmentally friendly businesses. I don't like this drought it indicates with an inverted Empress card, but that base card of a Magician, don't underestimate the power of having a Magician as your base card, because the Magician has all the power. So ultimately, we have the science and the technology today to create heaven on earth. And also I like the strength of the outcome of the Hierophant, which means that when we get right in our minds, we can roll up our sleeves and together, without depending upon our governments and greedy people, but by doing it all ourselves, we have the capacity to save the world and to not lose hope. Inverted Sun. That is the outcome. All right, I want to thank everybody for watching this video of Tarot with Whimsy, and let's see what the days have ahead. Pray for the people of North Korea, and that we can have some mediation and put a stop to this, because it's very frightening for them, and I really think that they need help right now. And regarding the planet, it looks like we're all going to have to roll up our sleeves and get to work and save ourselves. And if we do that, if we all do our part, it looks like we can do this. So there's still hope, but we have to be very aggressive, and we all have to roll up our sleeves and start working on it. All right, thanks for watching. With love and light, again, thanks everybody for the support of the channel. I'm very grateful, and I'm having a lot of fun. Take care, everyone, and be well.